Welcome to the Energy and Environment Committee. I'm Councilmember Jose Huizar, Chair of the committee. I'm joined by Councilmember Koretz and Councilmember Zine. We have just 5 items in today's agenda. Should go fairly quick. We actually had a few more items, but we took some of the items and continued them to the next meeting so that we could all get in time to the mayor's State of the City address. With my colleagues' consent, if we could put item number 1 and 4 on consent. Is that okay?
Sure. 1 is okay.
Been moved by Koretz, seconded by Zine, so ordered.
Perfect.
So if we could go to item number 2, please.
Item number 2, Board of Public Works report relative to adopting the CEQA initial study neg deck for central outfall sewer at 59th Street and 4th Avenue. Staff from Public Works.
If you could just provide a brief overview of the project and its budget and its timeline, nothing too in-depth.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you can do the project. Good afternoon, Chairman and Council members. My name is Nicole Cobley. I'm with the Environmental Management Group with the Bureau of Engineering, Department of Public Works. The item before you is the consideration of adopting a mitigated negative declaration and a mitigation monitoring program for the central outfall sewer at 59th Street and 4th Avenue. The project involves the reconstruction of the central outfall sewer and repair of the sewer at the intersection of 59th Street and 4th Avenue in the South Los Angeles area. Also part of this project is the reconstruction of a storm drain sewer where these two intersect, or a storm drain, sorry. So we're asking that the committee consider and forward to the City Council the review of the mitigated negative declaration, the fact that find that on the basis of the whole record, there is no substantial evidence that the project will have a significant effect on the environment, and that the mitigated negative declaration reflects the city's independent judgment and analysis, adopt both the mitigated negative declaration and the mitigation monitoring program, and approve the project as described in the initial study, which is here, and hopefully everyone received a copy of the document.
Well, thank you. The documents show about mitigation for the actual project. How about during construction? Have you been working with how you will mitigate some of the issues during construction and noise, traffic, etc.?
Yes, we have some mitigation measures included specifically for unique environmental impacts associated with the 2-year construction time period. And then as part of the construction contract, there are standard specifications that must be followed related to minimizing traffic impacts, providing for delays around the project area, notification of construction activities, the duration in which they'll be occurring, and minimizing the noise from construction equipment.
Okay. And is there sufficient funding in the city sewer construction and maintenance fund to pay for this project without drawing from the general fund, or would we?
Yes, there is.
Okay. We wouldn't have to use any general fund dollars?
No.
Okay. Any other questions?
Move approval of the item.
Moved by Mr. Zine, seconded by Koretz. So ordered. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item number 3, Public Works report relative to grant funding from the U.S. Department of Energy for alternative fuel vehicle program support relative to the Los Angeles Clean Cities Coalition. Staff from Public Works.
Thank you. Welcome. If you could introduce yourselves and just a brief summary of this and how this relates to the overall city's alternative fuel vehicle program.
Great. Thank you, Councilmember Huizar and other council members. I'm Wayne King. I'm staff in the Sanitation Bureau, and I am the Clean Cities Coalition coordinator. I'm the Los Angeles Clean Cities Coalition coordinator. The Clean Cities program is the item that's before you today. It's a request to apply, enter into contract, and to proceed with the work of the Clean Cities program. Clean Cities program is a program that was started in 1993 by the U.S. Department of Energy. The The City of Los Angeles was designated a Clean Cities Coalition in 1996, and as such has continued the work of the Clean Cities program since. The Clean Cities program helps to bring knowledge to the city departments, helps in looking for resources. Resources may be funding for alternative fuel vehicles, or actually just helping to keep the departments up to date on what the most current vehicles are. For this year, our funding amount is $25,000. The period of performance would be from November 1st until of 2011 until October 31st of 2012. Part of the reason that we're as late coming to you as we are is that this happens via the federal government, and we only find out about the amount that we are to receive after November 1st. And then, of course, we have to go through the city process to get here. That being said, we have $25,000 for the work to reimburse the environmental trust fund, and there's no impact on the general fund with this funding. And then this year, we also have separated out a bit of funding to help us on as-needed salaries. These are part-time people that help out with the day-to-day operation of the Clean Cities program, and then $3,000 for overtime, because once in a while we have an event that comes up in the evening or on a weekend, and we need some extra funding to assist with that regard. And thank you. If you guys have any questions, just let me know.
Any questions, comments? Mr. Koretz?
Yeah, I was just wondering how we spent the previous $40,000 Clean Cities grant. What would we use it for, and how did it turn out?
Well, what we actually do with that is we've reimbursed the Environmental Affairs Trust Fund, and that helped us to continue the work of the program and to subsidize the general fund as well. We didn't purchase new items or anything with that funding as far as physical items. Yes.
Hi, my name is Melinda Bartlett, and I'm also with Bureau of Sanitation. Part of that money was used, or the entire program was used, to bring a number of new kinds of vehicles to the attention of all the fleet managers within the city of LA, and to also start looking at the electric vehicle infrastructure in partnership with DWP. Wayne attends a number of conferences again. Build Your Own Dreams is an example of one of the companies that is coming to Los Angeles to help people build their own alternate fuel type vehicle. Other examples, we do an inventory every February, March on every single alternative fuel vehicle that's within the city, and we produce a report telling us how far we've come since 1996, when we started to switch our vehicles over to alt fuels.
Right, and that not only tracks the vehicle population, but also other emission reduction programs. They're mobile source based throughout the city.
So do we have any or many fully electric vehicles?
We have
currently in
some.
the
We
fleet?
do. We have Department of Water and Power has, I think, a couple of Volts, a couple of Nissan Leafs. We have quite a few neighborhood electric vehicles. The police department has, I think it's 22 or 24 of these T3 motion vehicles. They're sort of like an electric chariot, minus the horse.
But overall, I think we are at 4,668
Right.
alternative
So
fueled
alternative.
vehicles, with the conversion of the entire sanitation, trash trucks, and the street sweepers are nearly all converted at this point.
Sweepers will all be CNG, and then the refuse collection vehicles will be, at this point, we think LNG, CNG, those sorts of fuels.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Mentioning those fuels, I understand that when the controller did her audit and found $7 million in fuel missing, a lot of that was diesel and CNG and all that. Have you looked into that at all?
No.
because there was an audit release at $7 million. It wasn't gasoline, it was the special fuels.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, I think it was bad accounting more than people stealing $7 million worth of CNG or diesel. That's a whole lot
Oh, it
of
is.
tankers to disappear. So
Right.
how's the accounting, when you talk about the types of vehicles, how do they account for when the CNG comes in and the, how do they document that when it goes into the vehicles? Is it a gas?
Well, I know
pump?
that there's
Is it done manually or is it done by a computer?
it's actually done by computer. And I know that a lot of the vehicles, when you pump the fuel, I think if you know a lot of the hybrids, for example, or the gasoline vehicles, have like a transponder built into the vehicles.
Right.
I think the CNG probably has that too, and so it tracks automatically based on the vehicle number where the fuel goes and that sort of.
It doesn't really pertain to this directly, but it is the alternate fuel. So 25,000 is not a whole lot of money.
No, it's not.
How far does that go?
This is just Department of Energy created these coalitions across the United States, and there are all sorts of coalitions. Ours is just the City of LA and just essentially with our immediate stakeholders. And so to encourage these coalitions to continue on, every year they have a pot of money that they just divide amongst all the coalitions. This year we happen to get $25,000.
How much has been in the past years?
The last two were about $20,000 each. And when we first started in 1996, I don't know if Councilmember Koretz remembers, but Rachel and my daughter were at that opening ceremony when they were about 5 years old.
How old is she now? How old is Rachel?
Just
20.
turned 21.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I think it was 0.
It was 0 when we first started.
And it is, it's more or less like a seed money or just enough to help some of the coalitions keep their head above water, because some of the coalitions, there are 88 throughout the United States, and some of them are not-for-profit organizations, and they rely on this funding and whatever funding they can get their hands on just to keep above water. Thank God with us, we have the city to sort of help us out, and then this money just really.
It augments whatever needs we have. If we need some print budget or if we need a little extra travel, something like that, it sort of pushes it. This year we are going to put some into as needed because otherwise it's just the two of us working on the program, and so we'll get a couple of part-timers to help us.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think that
One second.
I'm sorry.
whenever Washington gives us 25,000 opportunity or what have you, we need to take it. But also, unfortunately, what happens at higher governments, big cities like ours, aren't treated very well because they don't work on a per capita basis usually. They usually work on regional formulas or something like that. And so if you're a small city of 50,000, 25,000 is great. When you're a big city like ours, we welcome it, but it's not going to change the overall, budgeting strategy of the department. I just wanted to point out for the record that, yes, since we haul our own residential trash in this city, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that the alternative vehicle trucks at the highest tonnage rate of load, they don't perform as well as the diesel trucks. I'm not saying we should go back to diesel, but I just want to make sure we recognize that when we ask the departments to do these things, they have to go through a lot of work of trying to fit this appropriately so in their business model to make it work. And in Los Angeles, we have made it work very well because all of our trucks are alternative fuel vehicles. So my point is, we gave them a directive some years ago. They've met that directive. They actually had to change their business model, et cetera, because if you remember, for example, whether we like it or not, some of the places where they have to take the trash to, they have to go up these steep hills. Right. And if you can't make it up the hill, then mission not accomplished. It's over. But they figured out a way to make sure that the model works and that they met our policy demand as a department. So
Remember that when you go to Washington.
I'll never forget that.
Oh, yeah, we need you in Washington to fix those formulas.
That's my job. Yeah. Will be.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your
Thank you, guys.
presentation. So with that, we'll have, yes,
Mr. Chairman, could I be added on 1, 2, and 4? It seemed to have gone on consent,
Yes, 1, 2, and 4.
Thank you.
Is a yes by Mr. Cardenas.
as well as this one.
And this was a yes. Moved by Cardenas, seconded by Zine. So ordered. Next item.
Last and final item, item number 5, Board of Public Works report relative to the California Beverage Container Recycling Litter Reduction Act and Beverage Container Recycling Grant Program. Staff from Public Works. Or did they just
Staff
walk
here
out?
on this.
So the note and file.
Just walked out.
Do what?
I think this was going to note and file.
It's
No,
a
there's
known
grant-
file,
There's a
but,
grant associated with this.
yeah, okay. This is,
Authority to apply for
There was,
$24,000.
yeah, we'll move this item.
Okay.
I just thought it'd be a good time.
I think it's appropriate, the department wants to stay within budget, so they didn't send a representative.
That's right. I thought it'd be worthwhile to talk more about our recycling program here, but it's a grant, et cetera.
Yeah.
Without objection, we'll move this forward. Moved by Correct, seconded by Zine. We'll move that
Okay.
item. Okay. Thank you all very much. I think that's a record for this committee so far, 20 minutes.
Except for last time.
Makes up for last time, says Mr. Zine. Meeting adjourned. Thank you. The zeros come again. Not your fault.